All right, today we're talking how much do federal employees contribute to their FERS basic annuity to your FERS pension, and how does that translate in terms of return on your investment? I think that's an interesting question. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole recently to find some answers for you. So often we get asked questions around the FERS basic annuity, the pension. Folks don't really understand how it works, let alone what they're contributing or how the return on their investment might work. So we're gonna take a look at it here today. Guys, my name is Justin. I'm a financial advisor, been doing this for a long time. And we help federal families manage their investments as well as build custom financial plans so they can retire, have that successful transition to retirement. Also part of a federal family myself. If you have questions around this stuff, would love for you to reach out and use me as a resource. Back to the question. So what we're talking about here, the pension is a little misunderstood, and the pension is a really powerful benefit. I think it's the most powerful one you have as a federal employee. Private sector folks don't have these kind of benefits, and they would love to have a pension, okay? So it works like this. If you were hired before 2013, you contribute 0.8% of your salary to the FERS pension. Okay, and then your agency makes up the rest of it so that your benefit works out to be what it's, what's promised in the defined benefit formula. If you're hired in 2013, they came in and said, look, we need to increase this. Employees need to contribute more. 3.1% was the rate in 2013. Came back in 2014, said, look, we got to increase this thing again. 2014, they raised it to 4.4%. Anyone hired after 2014 now contributes 4.4% of their salary as their contribution to the FERS basic annuity, and the agency makes up the rest. Okay, so it's a pretty big difference. You can see contributing less than 1% to now contributing 4.4%. Still a really powerful benefit, okay? Don't get me wrong there. But let's take a look at the numbers and see how it works out. I created a simple example for us to work through. I love running the numbers, get into this kind of nerdy stuff. Bear with me here. It's a real simple example. And what I wanted to do was say, there's an employee starts out $100,000 salary. They're going to get a 3% annual pay raise each year as that cost of living adjustment. No promotions or step increases, right? So they're just going to stay in their same grade. And then the last part is a 25-year career. Okay, so we know OPM tells us folks retire after 25, 26 years, usually on average, and it's usually around age 60 is kind of how the numbers work out. So if you did that, right, over your 25-year career, if you were a legacy employee and contributing 0.8%, your total contributions over that 25-year career would work out to be $29,167. Okay, now the $100,000 goes up by 3% each year, so of course you're contributing more and more each year, but it's a relatively small percentage. In contrast, if you're a employee hired after 2014, you're contributing 4.4% of that $100,000 salary, and then it's being indexed. Your total contributions would be $160,420. So more than 5 times the amount that the legacy employee is contributing. Okay, so big increase there. Now, the interesting part is the numbers work out the exact same on the annuity calculation. It's just how much skin you have in the game. So, here's our numbers. The high 3 works out to be $197,416. Okay, so as we index 100 grand for inflation, the last 3 years would be the highest 3. We got 25 years of service. We're going to say this employee is going out at age 60. So they get a 1% multiplier, not 1.1%. The numbers would change a little bit there too, but simplicity again. Pension equals $49,354 a year. So great pension, right? Almost 50 grand a year, 25% of what your high 3 was. So 2 more steps to get through on this, all right? Bear with me here. So what we want to do first is equate this to a portfolio value. And people always ask this, so like, how much is my FERS annuity worth in terms of dollars if I just invested? We can use the 4% rule. It's not perfect. It's not a rule. It's a strategy. But basically it tells you take 4% of the portfolio. It gives you a higher probability of not outliving your money. We'll use that in context here. 49,354 times 25 gives us the result, 1.2 million. So $1,233,850 is the portfolio equivalent of your 49,354 FERS basic annuity. Okay, so good chunk of change. Right, and if you're following the math there, if you just take the annuity times 25 to get the portfolio equivalent at 4%, or you can just divide 49,000 by 4%, give you the same exact number. So now what we want to do to figure out what the return on investment is, one more step. Remember, the contributions differ, okay? And for simplicity, again, I'm just going to say that you're making a lump sum contribution at the beginning of your career, which I know is not perfect because you would really be making these contributions over an extended period of time over your 25-year career. The compound interest would be different, so the rate on return is actually going to be higher in reality than what our example shows, but it gives us an idea of how different, how much it's changed based on the higher contribution levels. And it's also still fairly accurate. So here's how the present value calculation works. For the legacy employee, you have $29,167 in contributions. We'll use that as our present value. 25 is our time period, 25 years. And our future value, we just talked about that number that's a little over 1.2 million. So if we plug that in, the return on investment to get there, you would need to average 16.1% on an annual basis. So that's a big number, okay? Great return on investment. Okay, so the FERS pension, super valuable. Now, the new employee who has $160,420 in contributions, that's their present value. 25 is still the time period. Future value is the same, 1.2 million, a little more than that. Your interest rate, the rate of return that you need to earn on an annual basis, is 8.5%. So almost cut in half, you can see, little less than that. So it's still a really valuable benefit, but you can see how it's changed with the increased contribution rates. Now, this is also valuable to put it in context of, we get asked all the time, hey, what if I wanted to leave my job, my federal job, go in private industry and make money? How much would I need to save and invest to equal what I'm giving up on the FERS basic annuity? You can use this framework. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close to the right numbers that you would need to plug in. So, it's changed significantly. If you're a legacy employee, you'd need to make 16% return on your investment every year to kind of come out with what you're giving up on the FERS annuity. And if you're one of the new hires, the number's much lower, 8.5%, which is a more reasonable rate of return to go out and try to accomplish on your own. It's nice to have the agency take all the risk, of course. So it's not apples to apples by any means, but it gives you a framework of how to think through this kind of stuff. Okay. So I just thought that was interesting example. And of course, if you want to learn more about how the FERS basic annuity fits into your retirement income plan, it's something that we can help you with. It's a really powerful benefit to have a foundational piece that's going to replace 25 to 30% of your pre-retirement income, not just your expenses, of your income, and then plug that along Social Security or, the investments that you're accumulating along the way. Would love to hear any questions that you have. And if you need some help creating a retirement income plan, would also love to be a resource for you there too. If you can, if you find some value here, please share with a friend or colleague, give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.